Oh crap, we're live.
All right.
Yeah. So how's your day, bro?
Good. Good. Mostly relaxing. Hard day at the gym.
That's good, man. Sounds better than mine.
Oh yeah, what was yours?
So with the Tai Chi group,
Oh,
because
okay.
we're talking about this on the martial arts podcast, we had to deal with some fucking hobo that was just like
Oh.
there's this partition and we had our stuff on there, but he wanted to sit on this brick wall. So then he starts moving shit aside and starts talking crap, saying how this is America and everybody should be speaking English, something, something. He hates Chinese
Oh.
people,
Oh
blah, blah,
God.
blah, crap like that. So at what point did it kick a guy's ass?
You never kick a guy's ass, dude. That's just a fucking PR nightmare right there.
Crap.
I mean, if he if he came up to an instructor and started making the first move, I'm not any expert on the law or anything, but I would say personally that would be when I would get involved. As soon as they start making hostile movements towards the group, um, because at some point you're going to be like they're going to be too close to, pardon me, for you to do anything to stop them. So I don't know. That's a tough one.
Yeah,
But
because I mean,
basically,
it was very tempting to want to actually just kick this guy off the wall and
yeah,
just pound the crap out of him. I mean, like you said, it's a bad PR stunt right there, right? I
yeah,
mean, what is it going to look like? Like, oh, hey, martial artist beats up poor psychiatric person
yeah,
with illness who
yeah.
lives on the street. And you're like, oh, fuck.
Yep. That's exactly what it would play like. Or like, let's just assume he's not a veteran, because then that could be lumped in there too.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Yeah, you know what? Actually, I was speaking about the veteran homeless issue with a social worker friend of mine, and she says that like basically a lot of the veterans, like she works in a hospital that's it's a different hospital from
Hmm.
where the VA hospital is
Okay.
in her location. They're like literally, I don't know, maybe less than 3 miles apart from each other.
Okay.
And yet every time she tells these veterans that are homeless, she's like, hey, there's a homeless shelter there, and when you get registered with them, then you can get housing assistance eventually and all this stuff. Like there's that uh, there's that program that's similar to Section 8. It's called VASH. It's for veterans.
Huh.
Yeah, but then everyone tells her, they're like, nah, man, I don't want to join that homeless shelter. They got rules and a curfew, and I don't want to live by that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, they're already used to being on the street. You know, that's what they know.
right, right. And I mean, like, granted, I mean, like, obviously, there's like other psychological issues that we're not addressing here, and we're not going to be able to address.
Right.
But so back to the issue of whether or not to kick this guy's ass. Like, it was so hard not to, man, so
Yeah.
hard. And then on top of that, on top of this freaking hobo, like, I know that like if I gave this guy the look, like he might not be afraid, but it took
Yeah.
my Si Hing to like give him the stare, and then all of a sudden it was like that's when he decided to move to the bench, like just down the street,
Okay.
right? So it's funny how like we talk about the art of fighting without fighting, but then even then it depends on first that other person that you're dealing with, and it's not even so much your reaction sometimes, because like I can walk down the aisle of a supermarket and people will be afraid of looking at me. They'll think like I'm out to kill them,
Okay.
or like they think that I have this sort of face of scowl that I put up on purpose, like it's some sort of wall, right? So some
Yeah.
people are A, really afraid of me, or B, they think that just me, my existence alone in and of itself is simply a mask that I'm just playing some sort of charades with.
Like you could go off at any point.
No, no, like they think that like because I don't have a face that's like, oh, happy smiley, hey, 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 and then like, so, so then they think that like my look is serious, right? So the serious look has two reactions from it. Typically, I get two reactions. One is people are really, really scared of me. Two, the other reaction is people laugh off this whole thing, and they think that I'm putting off a front. And so then to them, I'm completely non-threatening in that sense.
Oh, if they choose, well, it sounds like their issue to deal with.
Yes, until they want to make an issue of trying to mess with you, because then at that point you have no choice but to kick their ass. Otherwise, you either risk, you either risk looking like a weakling by not
Uh-huh.
fighting them, or you just let them do their thing.
I don't know, man. I mean, everything I know about restraint and contemporary martial arts, you can't. Like even in the face of humility, you know, you can't. Or yeah, being humiliated, you can't respond. They're always. I mean, if you are the first, if you take the initiative and you're the first strike, there's almost always going to be some reason they are vindicated. Almost always, man. There's never a situation where it looks good. Oh yeah, good thing you kicked their ass. So it's in your best interest to just not respond. But it's tough.
So then, how do you pick and choose your battles? Right, like obviously later on that day, there was a group of high school girls, and then they're like trying to shoot something, but then me and my Hing were talking about stuff, and I could overhear him saying things like, oh, that guy's standing over there. Like if this is me in like my teens, like if it was like my little sister saying that shit to me when I
Yeah.
was young, I'd
Yeah.
probably beat the shit out of her. Like, yeah, okay, big brother picking on your older sister, or like picking on your younger sister. That's not cool. Yeah,
Right.
well, I probably would have done it if she gave me that sort of sass. But if obviously me in my age, a 30-something-year-old man,
Hmm.
now about to kick some high school girl's ass, that's definitely a PR gig that's not going to work out in my favor, right?
No, not at
But
all.
would I have gone out of my like in this day and age? Obviously, I would not go out of my way just to kick some little girl's ass.
Right.
Obviously, yes, that is messed up. More messed up
Yeah.
than trying to kick some homeless guy's ass for messing with us. Like these girls, all they were doing was being self-centered little high school girls, which is what they do. So, how do you pick and choose your battles?
So I was uh there's like big dog, little dog mentality that comes out on the street, and it's like law of the land stuff, like carry a bigger stick.
Yeah.
Um, I've been very, very close. Like, had I not had my scruples that day, had I maybe had just a terribly stressful day at work, maybe I would have responded. But each and every time, you have to realize. So, like, there was one time pulling into this gas station, this guy was just like losing his fucking mind, and all I wanted to do was just get um like a soda or something for my daughter, and something else. Like I think I was picking up something for my mom too. She was sick, and so I was getting her like some Sprite, and I just decided to stop at this. So this dude's losing his mind. He's got his freaking bike wagon trail with him, and like he's just like losing his like just like taking off his shirt, getting ready to like he's basically like a cat being thrown with their claws out sort of thing. And so finish up my transaction and I go back to my car where my daughter is, and this dude's just looking at me like, what are you gonna do? You know, like, and you have to realize like you were giving the guy the look and it wasn't working. At some point people just aren't afraid of you. They know their rights, one, or um they just have had experiences that demean common sense. Like, this dude could kick my ass. Maybe I should reel it in. But then again, you know, this person's flipping out. In your situation, that person was saying, I hate a group of people out loud in front of them as they're doing martial arts. So he's clearly got some issues going and he lacks, you know, common sense. So how do you pick and choose your battles? Well, you've got to really weigh, are you going to be able to stop yourself? Like you said, you wanted to kick him off the wall and start pounding his face in. The point where you pound his face in, that's where you've lost any credibility with when the police show up. The police should show up too.
Well,
And what's
the police are pretty close by. But the thing is I say that I'd like to pound the guy's face into the wall, but barring saying anything further that would be self-incriminating, I'm
right?
going to leave it at the. We're going to leave this conflict to
Yeah,
simply just bashing the guy's face to the wall. Now,
right.
in any case, this is all hypothetical. This is everything, of course, is all hypothetical now. None of this head bashing had ever happened. And of
No,
course, I put this out as a legal disclaimer, just to cover my ass legally. So,
right.
um, but then in between the high school girl and the stupid hobo, there's this one guy who this is the second time he appeared wearing the
Huh.
same exact clothes, gray colored, like doing the same exact thing. He puts his shit on the bench where we're at. And then me and my senior were just going over some stuff. And then he starts doing push-ups on the bicycle racks. Because these are like these giant rings that are like bolted to the floor. And
Okay.
they're used for the really sturdy bicycle racks. So
Yeah.
he's starting to do his push-ups or whatever. And we're just like, we were totally not impressed. But he clearly wanted to start something. Last week he was there. This week he was there again. And then my friend was like, all right, this motherfucker. All right, look, he wants to see some. Let's show him some Xingyi. So we start doing our Xingyi drills. And then
Okay.
we're just like, was one row all the way down. And this fucker just followed us all the way through.
You did Xingyi?
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't like in our face or anything, but he was still like right there, just like observing and shit. It's like, dude, if you want to start shit, let's start it. Like, what the fuck is this bullshit here?
Are you? There's no chance that you could be receiving his curiosity as hostility.
No, this is not curiosity, dude. The way he was looking at us the first time around, like I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, but the
Yeah.
fact that he came back and then he was just putting his shit where we were at, like, cause like, okay, if
You guys got the good spot. I need that
yeah,
bike rack.
pretty much no. I mean, like, cause then like everyone knows everyone in that park already has their little space carved out.
Uh-huh.
Right? I mean, like you have some space to do other things, and if you wanted to do like your thing, there's space where you can do it. But yet, like, and he knows that we're there. He knows that we're there every week.
Uh-huh.
And even
So
then,
has
like
he
even during the weekdays, we have people there.
has he been there all along?
Um, I know I've seen him around, but he's never really come to us like that
Oh,
this regularly. Like last week, this week, that was
uh-huh.
a regular thing. I've seen him like look at our stuff. He's looked at other people's stuff because this is a giant park where I mean, everything goes on. There's
Uh-huh.
different Tai Chi groups, different groups doing like Xingyi or like Some are doing bagua and some other things. Because
Uh-huh.
it's actually very common with the parks around our area because it's a major enclave.
That's just messed up, man. That's just messed up.
Yeah.
That'd be like at my mom's house, there's they do like Mexican celebrations and stuff. And that'd be like me trying to occupy as many parking spaces as I could so that other people couldn't park there, sort of thing. You know, it's like you're
Right.
trying to deny what is like accepted now as a large group who gathers often. You're trying to deny them service to something that's just it's just publicly available. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, like, not that he can deny us being there, because I mean, we're a giant fucking group. But I
Yeah.
think, but I mean, the fact that he's coming over and like taking a look at our shit and like just staring at us, like it's not just curiosity too. It was like he really wanted to start shit. He like wherever we went, he was following.
Hmm.
And it wasn't like he was like, he didn't come up to us afterwards and like started asking us questions out of curiosity. He just kept like looking as if he's trying to figure out like how good or bad we were, sort of shit.
Oh,
So
okay. Like now's my
yeah,
chance.
yeah. Where's my chance of like kicking their ass or whatever? So
Hmm.
then like after us, he started going to this other Tai Chi group over at the corner, and like I think he was talking. He seemed like he was actually talking to them, at least from the way I was looking like from afar.
Uh-huh.
He seemed like he was talking to some people. So I don't know if like he's actually connected with the guys over there or what. But like last week, man, it was like we were there doing our Tai Chi.
Uh-huh.
And like even before that, he was already going over and like taking a look at the Wing Chun people on the other corner.
Oh,
So yeah,
weird.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if it gets to be a problem, um, maybe just, having the police's number on speed dial, ready to call them if you need to next time.
I don't know. You know how it is with dragging in the police, right? It's always a fucking hassle. Like they're
Yeah,
quick
I
to give
mean,
out speeding tickets or like, parking tickets, right? But then like when it comes to like this sort of conflict where no one is like throwing punches yet,
yeah,
then they're hesitant to come in.
yeah, that and you know, they'll probably say, "Well, why don't you practice somewhere else?"
Right.
Or it's a public park. He has just as much access to the park as you do, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't really see that ending well. But it covers your ass because you're not causing harm. And what if someone in your group does something that makes it so that no martial arts can be done at that group at that park anymore?
Yeah, that's a bigger detriment to our entire organization. At least like now, we're outside in the park, we get exposure, and some people see what we're doing and they get interested. Like I think I told you, the DA of one of the local cities around here, he actually joined our group.
Right,
Yeah,
right. And so, there's this is just one of those sticky situations where there's no right answer other than not causing harm, not responding. But I mean, you guys are in a tough position to where, nobody's being threatened for one. At least there's that. But
not openly at least.
not openly, and if you're worried about your personal belongings, gosh, I don't know. It's a really tough situation, and you're just gonna have to take it one day at a time and just hope everybody's got their fucking scruples together. Because what if you get somebody new and he doesn't know, and like he or she doesn't know, and they challenge that person? They're like, "What the fuck are you doing near our stuff?" You know? Anyone can make that mistake. I can't. You can't be the only person who feels like that. Is what I'm saying.
Cut off throughout that last entire spiel.
Oh, really? Yeah, it
Yeah,
got
dude,
oddly
like
quiet.
the robot android aliens started
Oh no!
attacking and they
Oh no!
yeah.
They heard you, man. It's the effort against the Tai Chi. That's what it is.
Exactly.
Am I good?
All right. No, so you were saying about the tickets, if you can repeat that again.
It's basically good that nobody's responding. That you can't you can't expect everybody to know this guy too. You know what I mean? Like if you get a new
Yeah.
person, they may respond to that person. So just because you're cool with it, or what if the Wing Chun guys kick his ass? You know?
Man, I think this guy's got more beef with us than he does with the Wing Chun group.
Hmm. That's stupid. It's just plain
But
stupid.
I mean, because if anything, like I know the Wing Chun group, they have an issue with our group. They because they think that I'm constantly looking over at their shit, but really, I look down on their shit.
Is that the guys
But
that
that's a
tried to
whole nother
like?
issue. Go ahead.
Is that the guys that tried to like bring you into a conflict?
What
The
was
Wing
that?
Chun group?
What about them? Hello?
Hey, hello, hello.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're okay now.
Okay. That Wing Chun group, is that the ones that like tried to challenge you and get you to show your moves, sort of thing? That's all
No, no,
kind
no. They didn't do that yet.
of.
But I know like um there was an issue because like my C Hing was like completely non-abashed about talking shit about them. And I know they heard it.
Uh,
So ever since then they think that like I'm looking at their stuff, but I'm really just looking down at their stuff.
uh,
And it's like I mean their fucking bong cell is more like a fucking karate like
yeah.
upper arm block over the head sort of thing
Yeah.
like
Oh.
like yeah exactly that's exactly how they were throwing their bongs out. I was like, oh god, that's horrible.
Oh man, yeah. That's funny.
I mean, like I don't want to talk about how good or bad other people's styles are, but dude, like I mean that just completely goes against the whole idea of what a bong cell is supposed to do. It's more of like sort of like an antenna where like you sense where the guy's going.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so in terms of starting beef, I think I think my C Hing does have a hand in some of this. I don't know. It's honestly, I think this guy he's actually really targeting my C Hing, if anything.
Oh, really?
I think so. It seems like it because he only shows up when my C Hing is around.
Huh.
Like I see him around the park here and there, but like only when my C Hing is around does he start doing this shit.
Has your seeking admitted to knowing him?
No, he doesn't know him at all.
Hmm. Not like a past student or anything?
No, no, no. No, my C Hing would know this guy if he'd actually say something if he knew this guy.
Hmm. That's just that's just dramatic.
Right?
It cracks me up.
Like this is exactly how Shaw Brothers martial arts movies get started, man. It's like, some guy somewhere like looked at some guy the wrong way and then they fought and
Yeah.
ever since then the two schools had these issues and generations later like,
Yeah. Yeah. Straight out of a novel.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So, I guess to recap, knowing, I think as long as your Hing's there, you don't respond, and you tell your Hing, you bring it to him. That'd be like your responsibility as a student. I think in any
Yeah.
sort of like organized school, you would bring it to them like, what do I do about this?
I mean, yeah, I have to agree on the one aspect. Like, yeah, I would let him deal with it. He's of course much more experienced than I am. But on the other hand, I'm kind of like the idea of outsourcing the protection of the group to just one person is kind of like, it kind of also defeats the whole purpose of why we're even learning martial arts in the first place.
Well, he's the person responsible for your lessons, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that would be his call to begin with. So you should ask him how he feels. Would they
Oh, I know
like?
he doesn't feel good about this at all. Like the hobo, he was able to deal with easily with that one look, and then like that was it. The guy just like, I'm gonna complain somewhere else and blah blah blah, you know.
Yeah,
But yeah, this guy in the gray suit, man. I mean, like I was willing to give him the benefit of the doubt and think like he was maybe curious or something, but I
yeah.
wasn't sure. But then like today, it was very apparent. Like he wanted to like crawl up in our space and just like try to show off with his stupid push-ups or whatever.
Yeah, like why do you have to work out at that time on a Sunday, dude?
Right.
At a park, doing
Yeah.
dips or whatever, push-ups off of a fucking bike lock
Yeah.
rack. Like, come on. I don't buy it that that's his only place that he could do that.
Oh, it's definitely not the only place where you could do that. I mean, like, come on, it's a fucking push-up. You can do that anywhere, you know?
Yeah, but you know the way things are, that would the dude's just like trying to play you guys. Maybe he's trying to bait you into responding.
Oh, man. And you know that you're always gonna meet up with those people in life. Like they just want to bait you into something so then they
Yeah,
can just so they can call the cops and then see you
yeah.
get in trouble.
For the most part, I mean, barring like um, that's I think the most common form of an altercation that takes place. Someone's baiting you, and especially if they know there's any martial arts has anything to do with it, because they want you to show them. They have this '80s Karate Kid, Van Damme, Bloodsport image of martial arts built up in their head. They want to see what you can do, and they think that they're going to be able to challenge you with their own experience. Like they're getting you to trying to get you to show your hand, but you know, in all honesty, you should never be the first to show your hand like that. Never. You let them try to take a swing at you and give them the benefit of the doubt, like they made a mistake. Whatever you got to do to block, kind of push them away. If they keep coming back, then you drop them. No, don't even fuck around. Drop them. Like, rack the head to where it fucking spins, oscillates the brain. Drop them. Don't even like sit there and try to fight them. Just one punch. Whatever you got to do, a kick, a punch, something. Don't try to maim them. Just knock them out. Get them like just wallop them. No
See,
haymakers.
like I mean, if I was actually like skilled in the art that I'm practicing right now, like if I actually am at the master's level, what I would do is I would give the guy a free lesson, so to speak. But
Yeah.
that also implies that you're not going to hurt the guy, right? Like, you show him the lesson he wants to see, and then short of letting him fall on his ass or like, hit his floor on the ground or like, a bike rack or another wall or something,
Yeah.
you're going to be there
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
like hold on to him, just to make sure like he doesn't fall and start crying. I got beat up by
Yeah.
you.
Oh, ow.
So yeah,
Yeah.
if I was skilled, yes. But short of being that skillful, like it's pretty much gonna have to be like me or someone kicking the guy's ass and making him cry. Does that make sense?
Um, I don't think there's any situation that ends in the idea that it makes sense to kick someone's ass. Um,
Hmm.
I just don't think that way. I would like to think that I don't think that way. Obviously, there's like moments where like my aggression way, gets ahead of me, so to speak. But right now, outside of conflict, yeah, I don't think there's any like justified. Oh yeah, that dude totally deserved an ass whipping. No, that dude deserves to have the cops called, have them take a story from you, and go to court and talk about it there. You want some free counseling? There you go. Use the cops, man.
Hmm.
Don't even like. It's because first of all, you're going to tie him up in the system, and then he's going to have a hard time trying to come around you guys again. Because if you call the cops on him again, then he's either going to jail or he's going to jail one way or another. And then they may let him
Is he
out
really going to go to
because
the jail though? I mean, honestly,
they're going to book him. They're not just going to like arrest him and then take him around the park. They're going to take him to jail. They're going to book him, and he's going to be there for maybe an hour or two before they find, oh, we can't hold him. But still, he's out of your hair, and you guys are gone.
I don't know, man. I'm of the camp of they're going to want to try to avoid having to do that because it's more work for them.
That depends on. You can't always like assume you got like a fat cop responding on a Sunday. There's some dedicated individuals out there that are willing to do their job. Um, like so, but I do hear what you're saying, and I do have personal experience in that same mindset. But I think by and large, just keeping it legit, man, keeping it, call the cops if you're having trouble, call the cops because you want to be able to keep doing what you do. You
Well,
don't.
okay, let me go back to your analogy of fat cop on a Sunday. So, fat cop Sunday, you would have
Mhm.
two of those three things correct. And you really only need that third one before you are like, hitting the jackpot in that one right there.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
yeah. Fat cop on a Sunday. But no, so like that time that my sensei was challenged
Yeah.
and the cops didn't come out, um, a lot could have happened. I did call the cops, but they said they weren't going to send anyone out. They said they would patrol the road looking for those two people. Okay, yeah, right. Um, but there was, I mean, so there's this nebulous period where you have like a pizza delivery cop thing happening. Officers are going to show up, and the situation has still escalated, and it's at a tense point. Like you can't just instantly have cops. So there's a lot that can happen in those first few like, do I wait for the cops? Like this dude's like trying to attack me. Like what do I do now? So those are the times where yeah, go all out. If you feel like your life's in danger, fucking then you break out the dirty techniques, rake their eyes, self-defense shit. Um But as far as your martial arts, you don't there's no need to take that to combat these days. Like there's no qualifying circumstance to where I needed to use my Tai Chi. It makes you wonder, why am I learning this anyways? Right.
That was going to be my next question. Yes.
Yeah. It makes you wonder, but that's that shouldn't be the first thing that comes to your mind when it comes to I want to use my martial arts to kick someone's ass, to maim an attacker. That like we're getting away from the idea of doing the kind of martial arts that you do. Otherwise, you'd be doing MMA, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, by and large of what it's being studied for now.
So one of the things that supposedly sets kung fu and the Eastern martial arts apart,
Mhm.
like the actual martial arts apart from, say, MMA, is that MMA merely concentrates on the technicals, the fighting techniques and the skills, whereas opposed to, say, like martial arts from East Asia, they tend to have elements of philosophy into it. And supposedly they say that before I teach you to become a better martial artist, I teach you to become a better person.
Yeah, yeah.
So why can't I kick the guy's ass, man? I mean, like, he's obviously not a better person. I mean,
Because that's not why you're doing it. You're not doing
fuck.
it to kick guys' asses, you know? You're
Well, it's
doing
not
it
like just
because,
anyone's asses. It's just
well,
that
no,
jackass's ass.
oh no, definitely not that jackass's ass. I mean, that he
Oh,
doesn't
fuck.
deserve it. He doesn't deserve your time. That's that's his attitude, his demeanor tells you he does not deserve your time. He doesn't deserve your hand in a technical application applied to his body in order to either teach a lesson or to give warning. He doesn't deserve your time. If all he's doing is just trying to bait you, that's all he is. He's just a fly. He doesn't deserve your time.
So basically, what you're saying is treat him like my little brother, who at one point like was literally in front of the TV when he was like 3 or 4 years old. He was like, "Hey, everybody, look, it's me." And like, even though he's blocking your view of the TV, like you should just say like, "Ah ha ha," laugh it off, and just push him aside.
Yeah. That's night and day difference. I would say this is more like the person who's trying to pick on you in the school cafeteria. Because the little brother thing, yeah, you should unconditionally love that person,
Yeah.
and sometimes we want to see what's on TV, and there's been a whole cultural shift that's happened between the 80s, 90s, and then today. I mean, so nowadays people will be like, "Oh, my brother's so cute," or like, "Gosh, you're so annoying," or like, storm off or try to get mom or dad. But I would say this is more like you're amongst your peers and someone's calling you out. So that could be in high school, that could be in at work, you know, and you know that too, where someone's
Yeah.
trying to call you out and like you literally are feeling, okay, is this going to go to blows? Like, is this a combat oriented situation? No, it never is. So this guy at the park, he's trying to get you to maybe he's talked to the Wing Chun people and maybe they're trying to get you out of space. And they're trying to get you out of space because you guys get kicked out of the park because you can't practice there anymore because you beat someone up. Someone from your school beat someone up, so you can't practice there. The only thing I can think is that this dude's trying to bait you for your time, and you just don't have to give it to him. And that's an aspect of trolling him at the same time. It gives power back to you because you don't consent to his fucking game. Don't consent to his rules.
That's a way of looking at it. Because I mean, before you were saying it in those terms, I was honestly thinking like, well, he wants he wants goal X. Why don't I just give him goal X? Give him what he wants,
Yeah,
and then make him cry like a little fucking bitch.
yeah. And you can entertain those thoughts. You
Like
you could see,
then you
yeah,
can call me the wish maker. How about that?
yeah.
'Cause I make dreams come true.
The wish maker. Yeah, like you basically like took the when you wish upon a star.
There you go. See, now everyone's happy. He gets what he
Yeah,
wants. I
yeah.
get my satisfaction. Hey, what's wrong with that outcome, man?
Dude, you're in Southern California. It's near Disney, right? I mean,
Exactly.
just like Disney by proxy. That's
Pretty much.
justice of Disney, but you can just wish come true. Oh, you want conflict? There you go, buddy.
I mean, like,
Um,
maybe it's because I've been on one too many Disney productions. I mean, well, okay, I've only been on one Disney production, but that's another point altogether.
that was one too many. um, so uh, I have kind of dealt with this stuff only in the form of other students. When you build a rapport with like an advanced student and you like working with them, and then this jackass comes along who always tries to dominate the conversation, or they always try to dominate the scene. Look at me, ha ha ha, like the little brother in front of the TV. That's when that shit comes into play because you love your fellow students. That's like the little brother standing in front of the TV.
Okay.
There's and that can be potentially aggressive. It can make you, I'm paying for this too. I'm not paying for you to interrupt me and come here and just drop like mindless shit while I'm trying to learn something. Take your mic and drop it somewhere else. Um, that almost all of these situations can be diffused with words. Almost all of them. And then another thing, there's a bit of euphoria that happens when you don't give them what they want.
Right.
That's that whole passive resistance thing. You don't give them what they want. I mean, they expect that it's just going to work, that they can affect their will into the world. This is why you do martial arts, to prevent these people from thinking that this can happen to you. But that's why you do martial arts. That's not why the school does martial arts. That's not why each and every single person in that school does that. It's so you have that solidity, that resolve, so that you can say, I'm not going to let you kill me. I'm not going to let you push me out of this square. It's the it's a much more weighted action to display your martial arts like that than it is to just either passively resist or get the cops involved or see if there's a park ranger or something that can help you out. Maybe get in contact with the city and see what's happening and like what you guys can do. The city may
So at
say
what point
you
did
guys
you
need to
feel that
move.
you were able to so at what point were you able to handle that situation in that way? Right? Because
When
I can say honestly, I haven't gotten to that point.
when I realized I would break that person because I just don't experience combat. I would drink from that cup and get thirsty as I drank. When you feel power too, when you feel like, dude, it's like, so it's this weird sort of like, I don't really have like it fleshed out, but it's short term decisions that have long term effects. So where you start green lighting, yeah, I'll fucking like punch him in his fucking throat. Oh, ha ha ha, look at him, he's fucking choking now. Now I'm gonna fucking try to smash his jaw. All right. Why don't I just end it by stepping on his head? Like it's these like short term decisions where you have the upper hand, or if you start losing, I'm gonna go for his balls. All of a sudden the dude dies. I'm gonna go for his fucking heart. You cause a palpitation. Just hammer fist right on that heart. You win, but the dude's fucking on the ground with a heart palpitation now. Who knows if he's gonna recover? Every single one of those instances, you could apply too much force. You could be so in the moment and so overcome with rage that you actually start using chi in a negative way. You actually use like your body to just like smash someone, just like you're robbing life and you're making a bad demonstration of your art.
I know this is gonna make me sound like a shitty person,
Uh-huh.
but I can I have more of a concern for making the art look bad over being able to take someone's life. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm definitely not going to take someone's life. Legal ramifications aside, I mean,
No. I hear you.
I do feel that like there are people that literally do not deserve to live. They literally do not deserve to live. Is this person one of them? Possibly, but they're asking for it once again. So it's like obviously this guy's pushing my buttons the wrong way already.
Mm.
Um, and it doesn't matter whether like how far or not far I go, I guess. Well, no, I mean like if I felt the way you did, like that sort of confidence of knowing like I know I can kick this guy's ass and I'm not going to. Like
Hmm.
I'm not at that point yet, is what I'm saying.
Okay. That just comes from you being absolutely sure of what you do in the martial art. Just be sure of it. Don't halfway commit.
That's the
Because
thing. I mean, like if it
the
gets to
pro-
the point of like not halfway committing, I'm not gonna, say what the consequences are, but they're gonna be going far beyond
yeah.
bashing people's heads to walls and
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. I mean it's gonna be reverberations throughout time too. Like now no martial arts can be practiced in that park because someone died, right? Or whatever happens, it may not be that fucking, oh, poor everybody. But what I'm saying is you have a lot to look out for that may not be on the surface of your mind at the time. And any time that you feel like it's okay to be in public and step out into conflict like that, you're really chancing fate.
Oh yeah, no, but I mean, it's so hard. It's so hard not to, because when you're hit with that moment,
Hmm.
and it's like that decision of like, do I kick the guy's ass or not?
Hmm.
Just the one little thing right there was just like, it- you're gonna have to go all in.
Yeah, you might. I mean, you never know. The guy could fold too, and then all of a sudden you're the one attacking him.
Right.
Right? I mean, he could just approach you, and then you make the first strike, and his intent was just to intimidate you. Yeah, that's not right. But now you've crossed the line and you struck him. You, not you yourself, David, but you as in the person with the martial arts knowledge striking
Once
him.
again, minus the legal ramifications, this would not be a problem. But
Right.
with the legal ramifications, yes, this would be a problem.
Uh,
Now, so
um, the only
um,
thing I can say is that, for myself, and when I got to a certain point that I had the confidence, I realized that it didn't take very much knowledge at all to cause harm or be good at fighting. It didn't take any knowledge at all. It just took someone being self-assured that they wanted to have this effect. It just happened to go physical. And then they were sure of themselves at that point too. It was a confidence thing. So that would go back to you, and you just have to create a way to eliminate any self-doubt when shit gets like starts getting elevated. You have to start throwing out self-doubt. Don't even let that come into play, because you're going to need to put your chips on the table there. It's time to show your hand.
it's interesting how like you and I are putting this in terms of confidence, but like when I was talking to my Hing about this guy, he kept saying that this guy had like no martial virtue is what he called it, or modak in Cantonese, and like the idea of like martial virtue or virtue in any sort of general sense, though. I mean, like it's kind of hard to define. But I think you get the idea of what that means, right? Like the
Yeah.
Japanese refer to it in terms of like bushido,
Hmm.
but I mean, like how would you define virtue in this sense? Because like I mean, people hearing me describe the whole situation, like me versus like the guy who's instigating the situation. Some people would even say that I have no martial virtue because I'm willing to
Do
go
that.
through such extremes.
Yep. I would say that too. But that's nothing that on you, because that is kind of expected of someone at your level. You've just been shown a toolbox. This has been shown in media too, like in movies and novels and shit. Like when they finally get to a point in their skill level when they can start to use what they've been being shown, they want to do it. They want to show it. Oh yeah, I can do this now. What happens if I get to use it outside of the dojo, or outside of the school? Martial virtue to me, I wanna like go back to like the Eastern arts, we'll call it, right? For martial arts. Um, where it exists that there's a culture. Students clean. Students keep up the equipment. Things are run by the person who owns the school or whoever they delegate to do so, but everyone's involved. And then these days, you have people, oh, I'm a doctor and I need to go to work right away after practice here. So, but they end up never vacuuming, but by and large, that virtue exists from a sort of home economics that happens in your art, where you want to take care of your equipment and your fellow students. And when that starts to set in, you don't have problems separating your students from the rest of humanity. Because they're people too. They deserve that same second chance. Like, oop, the student hit you in the face. If they didn't mean to, or even if they did, do you want to never see them again? Just beat them up.
Well, once again, this guy is not my student, because if he was, I'd make him first pay me before I kick his ass.
Get the what is that called? Shinai. Get a Shinai. Whack, whack, whack. You guys should start carrying.
That actually goes back to I don't want to name names again, but it was funny. So this guy in the Wing Chun world, he's actually still pretty up there because he was a former student of Ip Man, and so he's in the area. And like me and my seeing, we're talking about that Wing Chun group, right? Well, mainly my seeing was talking about that Wing Chun group, I should say. And then so he's telling him, he's like, "Hey man, look man, like you have a higher rank, like in this area, especially. Like, dude, why don't you go over there and like tell him how he's fucking teaching his students like all this incorrect posture and all this crap?" And he's like, "Why should I do that? Like, are they gonna pay me?" He's like, why am I giving away a lesson for free? That's ridiculous.
Oh, see, that's where, to me, when somebody ever makes that claim, they lose credibility.
I mean, he was only saying this in jest, honestly. He's only saying this in jest. But he was trying to make the point that saying that like my Si Hing couldn't let go of the fact that these guys were giving out crappy lessons. And my Si Hing was like, what? Like, I mean, why would you? How could you even say that? I mean, this is Wing Chun's reputation on the line as an art, and it's like your status in the Wing Chun world is like so high, and yet you're just like, so what if they teach crappy Wing Chun? What do I care? I was like, oh, that was very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Maybe so like the sort of Ronin instructor from like Japanese culture, but like where he's not necessarily he's not tied to any sort of association, which typically, like when you practice martial arts in California, you're tied to some form of an association, unless your school just does it. And you just lay claim to lineage without any sort of like official, like you couldn't prove it.
Well, at some point, I'm sure he's like a part of some lineage or association of some sort, right? I mean, because even with like Ip Man's students, they all formed the Yipman, Wing Chun Association and all this other stuff. I mean, like it's at some point down the road, he's a part of an association. Now, does that actually mean anything? Like I don't think being a part of any sort of Wing Chun association it weighs as heavily as say like Taekwondo federations or associations or like karate
Mm,
associations because ultimately they all have a central head that leads somewhere. Whereas
right.
opposed to say the Wing Chun associations, it's like you can trace your lineage, but ultimately you are either a part of a lineage or like maybe say Gary Lamb, right? He's a
Mhm.
student of Wang Sunlearn, and I'm pretty sure he's a part of the Wang Sunlearn Association of Wing Chun. But then, I mean, Gary Lamb, of course, also has his association of schools that he has set up. So any one of his students are a part of the Gary Lamb Wing Chun, school. But then, like, I mean, like if one of his students decides to go up and set up their own association, then that's totally up to them. So it's not like some of the Japanese arts where it's like, oh yeah, we are a subchapter of this school's organization, like, and like the headquarters can be traced all the way back to,
Yeah.
somewhere in Japan or something,
Yeah.
right? Like
Hombu
there
Dodo.
is a specific hierarchy, but like with the Chinese martial arts associations, not as much. You generally either trace it back to one person who decided to make his own association, or um, to even set up a more of I don't want to say like street cred or anything, but like or credibility of any sort, but like to have such a top down structure where there is something that you can actually trace back to. The closest thing that you can come to that is maybe say associations that were homegrown in America by the original like Chinese organizations way back in the 1800s, like when they first got to the country. But that's a whole nother separate matter, and then we can also talk about the Tongs and how they're involved with gangs, and that's another thing. But
Yeah.
that's for another podcast, I suppose.
Yeah. That'd be interesting.
But anyways, yeah. So yeah. So as far as associations and like whether or not this guy is a part of them and whether or not he's gonna he feels that like he can trample on this other guy's association. I mean, I think he's just not gonna do it because um
It's kind of a jackass move too. Like
yeah,
if
yeah.
you step up into like somebody else's like play or show and you like you guys are doing it all wrong, like you can't do that. Like that's a dick
I mean,
move.
you can't, but at the same time, he kind of needs to,
Yeah, yeah. Those
But
people
like,
are gonna get
I mean,
themselves
like, and
hurt.
like, and honestly, he can do that because of his clout in the Wing Chun world. I mean, he's up there. He's one of the last remaining students of Ip Man.
Hmm.
But I mean, like, like he was like, no, I'm not gonna go over there. I'm not gonna like give this guy a lesson. And maybe that's the same exact attitude I should take with you know, guy in a gray suit who wants to do push-ups.
Think about like how silly it sounds outside of the fact. All he wants to do is just do some push. You know, he just shows up in his tracksuit and he's like trying to start shit with a martial arts group. Some people live on the edge of pissing people off. They like to ride that edge, like, are they pissed off yet? And then they go too far to the left or too far to the right. You know, some people really like riding that. And
I don't know. Is it just me? Like, do I tend to attract that sort of people, or does it seem like you've met enough of those people in your life as well that
yeah,
you have reached a point in which you know how to deal with it? Because I still have trouble.
well, I don't have trouble showing physical restraint. But I'm like you. And if people hear the word martial arts, they assume that you're a threat. They assume you're something to fear.
Right.
So, that's nothing you can do anything about. But, you know, I could be getting upset and people will think, oh my God, is he ready to snap? Is this it? Like, do I need to call the cops now or or get security or something? Like you don't give people cause for concern. And when the other person's doing that and they try to attack you and it doesn't work because you use martial arts to defend yourself, you're clear.
Right.
You're clear. But when you use martial arts to make a point, or when you use martial arts, this is where like that virtue thing kind of comes in. I don't know where I understood it. I don't know at what point. It was sometime in my reading, maybe try just reading stories like of battles that took place, like maybe the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, or any sort of history that affects that, the dynasties in China, and the restraint that they show, the restraint the generals would show for a weaker army, letting them run.
See, I don't know. I mean, like, in certain circumstances, I do believe that it is better to be feared, but at the same time, yeah, I do understand, like, where you do want to, also be, I guess, sort of accepted by certain people. Like we all need a certain community, but I don't know, like when it comes to this situation, like I would much rather him simply fear me and just not even try to come close, rather than to, constantly, try this, like, oh, let me push all his buttons.
So here's a hypothetical situation. Let's say track pants or tracksuit comes back next Sunday, and it's just a regular day. He's having some regular training, and tracksuit shows up, maybe 3/4 the way through your session, and you guys are like either hitting a high, or you're saying goodbyes or something, or you just want to like have some extra work on something, and then tracksuit shows up and he plops himself right in the middle. At the same time the tracksuit shows up, another prospective student shows up. Or maybe you were already talking to them and tracksuit shows up. You have to think about how you carry yourself in front of those people. In most of my situations, that was the case. There was a new student, or there was a prospective student, and then conflagration happened elsewhere. I think going through those has helped me see it's really not fucking worth it. Showing off that you're like really highly technically capable of fucking some awesome upper body work. Great, but it doesn't help new students. It's not attractive. It causes fear. Fear pushes away. Fear is the shortcut to misunderstanding, and it is a shortcut to hate.
True, true. Well, I think no, you got a good point. So I think this is a good point at which we can end this podcast then.
All right.
All right, let's do it.